Hey YouTube land, TechHunters there doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at something on the more modern spectrum of things. A new figure, or well, a new figure set, but it is a 2-pack, and I have done a review of the previous set, which I will be bringing when I get around to comparisons. But this is a review of the Masters of the Universe X Stranger Things Vecna versus He-Man set. So far there's only been 2 releases in this line, and that being this set and the previous aforementioned set, which was Skeletor versus the Demogorgon. Now, I did do a review for Skeletor versus the Demogorgon. Unfortunately, I don't know where the box packaging for my set is, so I can't compare the two. But as far as I can recall, the set is identical in packaging. So we'll have a quick look at the packaging. I'm going to move the figures off for the moment. We'll have a quick look at that packaging, and then we will get cracking on the figures. So the packaging itself has the name Vecna on one side. Now the figure is packed upside down on for the Stranger Things side, and then right way up if you want it for the Masters of the Universe side, which it's a bit hard to see, but you have He-Man standing up this way. And what's cool about it, and I remember it from the previous packaging, is the images are reversed on the sides. So He-Man, if you're flipping around the box this way, now there is a dedicated top of the box, because the top has this hook for hanging it on a peg, whereas the bottom side doesn't. So it is kind of supposed to be up and down. So on the good hero side, I suppose you want to call it, you have He-Man with his shield and Castle Grayskull behind him. I'll just flip that down there so you can see it. So you have He-Man. You can see the tendrils from the upside down kind of encroaching on Castle Grayskull, and you have He-Man with his battle axe at the ready. And then flipping around to the evil side, or the bad side, you have Vecna just doing his kind of floaty demon thing. And then on the back of the box, again, I'm gonna have to move the box down, sorry about the sideways look, but on the back of the box you have again Vecna, He-Man. There is actually a Demogorgon or Demo Dog versus Battle Cat in the background, and then you have Castle Grayskull in the midst of it, and you have some of those demo bats or whatever they're called, the demon bats, and you have a battle scene going on. And then the only other thing, it just shows you putting the weapons into the hands of the figures, and it shows the figures all geared up. So top of the box, this has both the Stranger Things logo and the Masters Universe logo, and then all the legalese stuff is on the bottom of the box, but that's not important. So bear with me a moment, we'll get the figures set up and we'll have a look at them themselves. So here is the figures in all their trimmings. So you got He-Man on this side and Vecna on the opposite side. Vecna comes with one weapon, which is this clock trident type thing, which is supposed to represent the clock when if you've seen the last season of Stranger Things, Vecna was kind of revealed to be the big bad, and when things were kind of going bad, there was this clock chime belling, and this is supposed to be that clock that would do a kind of weird distorted bell when stuff was going wrong or going bad in the upside down, or in the real world for the upside down to kind of break through, and Vecna's powers come into play. But he is essentially, everything about him is essentially a reuse of parts except for a couple of new accessories. Again, He-Man is exactly the same as one of the first iterations of He-Man, albeit he does have the more action figure style head as opposed to the original head that they came out with. So what I will do is I will bring in the donor parts for Vecna and the He-Man figure. So I'm going to just bring in tape measures so you can see how tall they stand. So Vecna to his head is around 6, but if you have his tentacles in kind of reverse positions, you can unplug the tentacles and have them pointing downwards or have them pointing upwards, whichever way you want them. If you have him in this kind of position, he kind of goes up to like nearly 9 inches. And it's just a simple thing of unplugging and replugging. In fact, I can't remember which way they come in the box. I think they're facing downwards, because he's supposed to be, you know, he kind of supports himself by his tentacles, so I suppose it's supposed to be that way. I'll leave his weapon off, but if you have him down that way, his height just differs to just 6.5 inches. So depending on which way you have his back tentacle, tendrils, whatever you want to call them, set up, you will have it that way. So He-Man, we will have a look at first, because he's pretty much a plain He-Man figure. There's not much going on with him other than the deco, and the deco for this is actually a really cool deco. One other alternate is he does have a different hand to the standard He-Man, so we will get into that in a second. I know my one doesn't have his battle axe. He should have a battle axe as well, but he is missing our first version Origins one is missing the battle axe. So here is the standard Origins He-Man alongside his upside down counterpart. So the main difference with He-Man is his accessory. His shield here is the classic He-Man shield. The only difference is the new version, or this upside down version, has the Hellfire Club logo on his shield, which is an all new sculpt, an all new piece. And again, he has a grasp hand, whereas the kind of old standard style He-Man had this kind of outstretched palm hand. But I really love the deco on this logo. It has the red kind of demon face on the front. He has the horns coming out in gold. There's airbrushed gold on the kind of ears, if you call them, or the webbed ear things. And then he has gold on the eyes and on the teeth. You can see it's constructed with kind of, it's plugged in place and kind of, it is glued in place. It doesn't come off. But it does fit on his grasping hand quite nicely, and you have him that. The other thing he comes with is his classic power sword and the battle axe. So you can actually have him dual wield his classic style weapons. What is of interest to note is the silver used on the sword. It's the exact same sword as the Origins figure, but it's done in a much more muted kind of silver, washed out silver color, the same as his shield, which makes it look really cool. Similar to his armor has a really cool metallic wash to it, whereas the original figure was just a plain gray. And this is something I was hoping they would do for this figure when I first got the Skeletor pack, which I will bring in because he does look really, really cool. So we'll have the two heroes and villains of the Masters of the Universe line here. Now I think my Skeletor came with a sword as well. He comes with the sword in this kind of dark metallic color, which is really cool. But the Skeletor and He-Man are basically reuse of the first edition Origins. Well, actually, the Skeletor is a reuse of first edition Origins figure, which is a little bit of a shame. I was really hoping they might have reused that Screech 2-pack Skeletor head. It's the only Skeletor head with an articulating jaw, and it would have been cool for this. But he has a very pale, washed out, he has like a bluish, dark blue wash over him, whereas He-Man has a kind of more tan wash. The interesting thing about He-Man's skin tone is he looks more natural, if that makes sense. He looks more like a normal human skin tone compared to his naturally over tanned kind of plastic body that he normally has. So if I strip down his gear, so you can see that a little bit better. I mean, all his gear is exactly the same, but you can see he has this kind of dark brown kind of fading wash going on over his body. He has like a more pinkish tone, skin tone, as opposed to the kind of very over buff tan. His eyes actually have the pupils painted in, whereas the original figure doesn't. There is one other version of the figure that does have the eye pupils painted in, which is the more recent Turtles of Grayskull Ninja Stealth He-Man, which I think I did a review for. It's the one that has the kind of like ninja cloak. But he is pretty much the same as a standard He-Man. His arms can rotate around. He does have that swappable ability to plug in and plug out bits for some of the parts. Single joint elbow, rotation on the wrist, single hinge on the wrist. Legs can kick forward and back. He has single jointed knees. He has a boot swivel cut, which is quite tight on mine. He has rocker ankles, peg holes on the bottom, and the head is on a ball joint. So if you're familiar with the Origins figures, these guys are exactly the standard articulation from a Origins figure. So with He-Man taken out of the equation, not literally, but as we run down through him, we will get on to everyone's favorite big bad from the Stranger Things TV series, and that is Vecna himself. So as you saw, you can unplug these. You don't have to have them on him if you don't want them stored on. These are exactly the same tendrils that came with the Turtles of Grayskull mutated Mossman. So if you have Mossman, you pretty know what you're expecting with this figure, because this guy is essentially a reuse of Mossman. And if you have the previous mentioned Demogorgon, again, it's another reuse of parts from that too. So because I will get it out of the way first, and I have them to hand, I will bring in that Mossman. So you can see Mossman utilizes the same armor, the same shoulder armor. It has a different chest piece, but the interesting thing about this is I didn't know this about this piece on the Mossman figure. Oh, sorry. This piece is actually removable, so if you have the Mossman figure, you can plug this small bone piece onto this one. I put it in the wrong way around. Is it that way? I think it's that way. Yeah, put it that way. So you can have them looking a little bit more or less flamey, I suppose, or less clawy, whatever this thing is. It looks like it's supposed to detach and become like a separate entity anyway, like some sort of extra creature. But if you leave it off, it doesn't look too unnatural, but you can see where it plugs in. Again, I didn't realize this piece was actually removable on the, or intended to be removed on the Mossman armor. But for the most part, you can leave this thing on him. I'll just plug it back in. Oop, oop, oop. Come on, you have to plug it in at the bottom first. Get it in right, and then plug it in at the top. Come on. Or am I doing it upside down? No, I think that's the right way around. There we go. We are in. So, where Mossman had purple, bright purple versions of this shoulder armor, Vecna has this dark brown version, which is supposed to represent the kind of tentacles and the like the stuff from the dark side, the roots and tentacles and stuff that you see in the dark side. The head sculpt is a complete new head sculpt. I'm not sure how well you were seeing that on screen. Hopefully it is coming across quite nicely. But it is a very nicely done head sculpt. He then reuses a lot of existing parts. So his torso, even though it looks like a standard Master of the Universe torso, it's not the kind of human one. It's actually a Beastman's torso. Same with Mossman here. He uses Beastman's torso. And again, with the arms, he uses those. So I'm take Mossman out of the way. So he is essentially a reuse of Beastman parts, and he actually has, the feet are used on Whiplash, and I think they were first used on Buzz-Off. So they have, it's that kind of four-toed or weird kind of claw-toed feet. So he has like two claws either side. He has a center claw, but he also has like a small claw at the back. So, and I believe the feet are also from, or the upper ankle piece is also from Buzz-Off, because it has that kind of thing on the edges, the web detailing on the either side. Again, I think it's also reused on Whiplash. So he has Whiplash legs, Beastman torso, Beastman arms. He even has the Beastman right arm for grasping. because if you know Vecna, he doesn't have the claw arms, he only has it on one hand. This claw arm is a unique piece in the sense that it was first used on Mossman, and then it was again reused, and this time they made two. Well, they did reuse both of them from Mossman, and that's a good segue to bring in this guy. This is the Demogorgon. As you can see, they even reused Beastman's armor on the Demogorgon in a kind of off gold color, which is pretty cool. Gave him a unique head, and they reused those Mossman legs. So the Demogorgon does stand taller than everyone because he has the more elongated legs, but he looks pretty cool with his Master-in-Chief, or whatever you want to call him, of Vecna. So all in all, this is a really cool set. This guy has the same articulation points as the He-Man figure, so I won't run into that too much. Now, the only thing I will say is I have had issues with trying to get this guy to stand properly. I don't know if it's just my one, but he does feel a little top heavy when he has the tentacles in his back, and he tends to flop over a bit. So there is that. For a alternate look at another Vecna figure, because it's the only one other figure I have the Bandai figure that they put out when the Stranger Things, when that season came out. So you can see the similarities between them. He has that elongated clawed hand. He has the natural, more human hand on the other side. You can see the kind of tendril kind of armor stuff that's, well, it's more tendrils on this guy more than armor, but you can see what they were going for. And even the heads have a very similar vein, except with the Masters of the Universe version, it has kind of smaller tendrils. I'm not sure if you see it, but it has smaller tendrils kind of sculpted on around the sides to kind of give it that more creepy vibe to it. So we will get everyone set up. We're going to move old He-Man out of the way. We will get He-Man and his gear together. We'll get Vecna and his gear together. And we will have a look at them all together in their little 2-pack setup. So we have the two heroes, and I have Arthur dropping He-Man's sword. So bear with me a moment while I go retrieve it. Probably knock over everything in the process. Voila, there he goes. I'll put his power sword in the back. We will put creatures to one side, and well, I suppose Skeletor is sort of a creature. We'll put old creepy face guys, Vecna. Not, I know you can call Skeletor old Boneface. I'm not sure what kind of nickname you can call Vecna. But we'll put his flamey trident in his hand and put them over here. As I said, he seems to be top heavy with that. It's a very heavy accessory, so it tends to make him lean forward a bit. So we'll see if we can get him to stand. Get the old Demogorgon on one side, He-Man on the other side, and then the final conclusion, Skeletor, the evil Lord of Destruction, on the other side. So I'm just going to tilt my camera a touch. Hopefully we won't see all the junk that's in behind. And just center these guys a little bit better. So all in all, these guys are pretty awesome looking. They do look pretty good together. I don't know if they'll delve any more into this line. I mean, after all, they've done kind of pretty much the big bads and the big monsters from the Stranger Things. I guess they could do if they really wanted to do, be a weird set, don't get me wrong, but if they wanted to do a Battle Cat versus a Demo Dog set, which would be kind of interesting, and give Battle Cat that kind of this aged looking armor. Although I would, if they did do it, I'd love to see them do kind of a translucent metallic red armor for Battle Cat. That would look awesome, I think. Again, I don't know if they could do the cat versus a Demogorgon or Demo Dog, because Skeletor wouldn't have something to go against unless they did maybe for the villain side of thing have a Screech versus one of those demo bats, which would be kind of an interesting thing. It would have to be a fairly large looking demo bat, but then again, it might work, it may not, I don't know, I'm just spitballing. But overall, I think this set is really, really cool. If you can pick this up, I do recommend it. Now, I will say, actually, before I wrap up here, I will say that the set that I got, I'm not sure if it's the European version of it, if there is a European versus US version. I'm not sure if because this set, I believe, is exclusive to Walmart or Target in the States. I think it's Target. I could be wrong. It's one of those two chain stores. It is a store exclusive in the States, but over here in Ireland, it's not available. Shock horror in Smiths, but however, it is available in Smiths in Germany, and that is where I got this one. A buddy of mine ordered a couple of extra ones from Smiths in Germany, and when he got them, he asked if anyone wanted the Vecna He-Man set, and I literally raised my hand because I had the previous set and I wanted to review both, so, and put them into my collection. So there is that. So overall, the He-Man and Vecna set is quite cool. It is kind of a weird niche thing because I know there's the Turtles crossovers, there's now the Stranger Things crossover, I'm not sure, and there is rumored that there is going to be a Thundercats crossover at some point. That was one of the rumors from one of the more recent San Diego Comic-Cons or Power-Cons or one of those, that they were contemplating doing Thundercats as a crossover. If they do that, I'm all in for that, because I would love to see a Mumra in his mummy form similar to that of Skeletor, and then a Mumra in his powered up form, maybe in a larger body, kind of similar to that Krang that they did from the Turtles line, where they gave him an extended torso thing and made him bigger and stuff. But I'm just rambling now at this point, so I will wrap up here. Again, I really hope you enjoy this video, and hopefully you watch it till the end and you hit that like button. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps grow my channel, it helps promote my videos, and helps people see my videos, which I do appreciate if you can do that for me. So thanks once again for watching, and hope you enjoy your day. Cheers, guys.